You wouldn't know it, but I'm wearing a t-shirt that says, y'all better be glad I love Jesus. Just recently, someone gave me a coffee mug that says, why are y'all trying to test the Jesus in me? Hi, I'm Eva Marie Everson, and I am the author of The Third Path. Now, as I've stated previously, I'm predominantly known as a Southern fiction writer. But this book, The Third Path, is I guess, a accumulation of a year and a half, 2-year journey that I took looking at the questions that God asked in the Bible and then answering them myself. And that is a journey that has not ended. I am still finding questions all the time as I'm reading the Bible, as I'm listening to the Bible. And I get so excited every time I do. I'm like, is that a God question? Because God asks questions all through the Bible. And he didn't ask them because he didn't know the answer, but because he wants us in communication with him. He wants to have an intimate relationship with him. So the last time we met, I talked to you about the fact that the world is just so angry right now, which is why today I chose to put on my "Y'all better be glad I love Jesus" t-shirt. Here's something that we have not heard until I think about 2020. We knew the names Karen and we knew the name Kevin. So we knew the name Karen and we knew the name Kevin, but we had never used them as a verb, right? Or a noun, like somebody's going Karen on me, or she is a Karen. What does that mean? I don't even know why they picked those two names, to be perfectly honest with you, but here they were. And I remember the first time someone told me, have you seen those videos on YouTube about Karens and Kevins? And these are people that are freaking out for no apparent reason and just being crazy. And people are recording them because they're like, I don't do with this. And so I began to watch them. And I'll have to be honest with you, there are times when I'm watching some of these videos and my husband thinks they're hilarious. So he and I watch them together. But I think truly, really, there are people out there like this. There are people out there who act like this. What is wrong? Take some hormones or something. So that was rude. But that's the way I feel about it. You know, you need to have yourself a good cup of coffee or a good nap, or you need a little Jesus in you, you know? So the thing is that we are angry. We're angry as a country. We're angry as a world. Oh my gracious. I dread election time because we all get so angry. We get angry with each other. We get angry with our neighbors. We get angry with our family members. We just get angry. And we say things because of social media that we would otherwise never say. Because we think, oh, I'm immune now. I can say all of these things because I'm protected behind my laptop or behind the keyboard of my phone. But the truth of the matter is sometimes we just make ourselves look silly and like Karens or Kevins. One of the first questions in the Bible is just that. Why are you so angry? Why is your face downcast? I'd like to share a little bit from the book about this question, if you don't mind. I start with the path of silence. We always start with the path of silence. And I give you a scripture to just think about quietly. The fruit of that righteousness will be peace. Its effect will be quietness and confidence forever. That's from Isaiah 32:17. So the story comes from Genesis 4:1-7. And the question is, why are you so angry? And the next part of that question is, why is your face downcast? That comes from Genesis 4:6. God, in his infinite creativity, had spun the world into existence. He had spoken light and darkness, the arc of the sky, and the power of the waters into being. He had said, let the waters beneath the sky flow together into one place, so dry ground may appear. And there was land and sea and vegetation. which the land produced. Then God created what astronomers study and marvel still today: the sun, the moon, the stars, and all that is found in the heavenlies. Indeed, while we have always pondered these great creations, God has understood them, for he made them. Then God filled the earth with the birds of the air and the fish in the sea. Finally, he created every sort of animal, completing his masterpiece with a man, Adam, who bore inside of him a woman, Eve. For a while, and we do not know how long, Adam and Eve, now married by God, spent their days in a beautiful garden called Eden. Together, we can imagine they played with the animals, frolicked naked and unashamed in the lush landscape, plucked fruit from trees and berries from bushes and vines, and then partook of their sweetness. In the cool of the evenings, God himself came down to the garden where he walked and talked with his beloved children, this man, this woman. Ah, such peace, such tranquility, such a life. And then Satan came. Satan lied. Adam and Eve disobeyed by eating the one fruit God had asked them not to eat. And they were then banished from the verdant botanical paradise they called home. Satan was doomed to crawl on his belly, groveling in the dust, Adam to struggle against the soil, and Eve would give birth in pain. And yet, desire for her husband would continue to rise within her. In time, Eve gave birth to a son. She named him Cain because she said, with the Lord's help, I have produced a man. Interestingly, the Hebrew, kaniti, it's spelled with a K or a C, means to possess. When Eve gave birth to her second son, she named him Abel, Habel, whose name means. The boys grew to become men, and Cain became a cultivator of the soil, while his younger brother became a shepherd. We don't know who instructed them to bring a gift to the Lord from their laboring, but we get our first glimpse at wholly required sacrifices and see that Cain and Abel believed in the sanctity of it, of bringing the best of the first fruits of their labor to the altar of the Lord, of showing God they trusted he would always provide the best for them because they had returned the best to God. Only problem was Abel alone brought the fat portions from the firstborn of his flock, while Cain brought some of the fruits. The Bible is clear. There was neither anything wrong with cultivating the land nor about being a shepherd. Neither was one more right than the other. The difference was in the attitude of the giving. Abel had brought the best, while Cain had brought some. Perhaps Cain's possession of the fruit of his labor meant more to him than what God required of him, or his trust. God was not pleased. And when God was not pleased, Cain became miod hara, very angry. But the Hebrew word hara, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, hara, probably, goes deeper than just. Harach is red hot, blazing resentment, fury, rage that becomes painful and ignites a passion that leads to sin. We could say it makes you into a Karen or a Kevin. Anger, it has been said, is a secondary emotion, which means another primary emotion has rooted itself inside. Undealt with, the root emotion becomes anger. Such primary feelings can be embarrassment, shame or guilt, fear, distrust, regret, hurt, disappointment, or rejection. We do not know the dynamics of the first family. Abel could have been his parents' favorite. He could have been better looking, funnier, taller, more athletic. He could have been one of those people who walks into a room and joy skips in with him. Perhaps Cain was as opposite to his little brother as Esau was to Jacob. Perhaps the rage that boiled inside Cain had started long before God showed greater favor to Abel's sincere sacrifice than the one Cain gave half-heartedly. What we do know is that this raw, unchecked emotion outburst led to sorrow on all sides. You may think, having read the story in Sunday school as a child or having heard it told in presentations, that Cain, seeing that God was displeased with his sacrifice, immediately killed Abel. But no. First, God gave Cain an opportunity to make things right before they could go, oh, so wrong. Why are you so angry? He asked the firstborn of humanity's parents. Why do you look so dejected? That's the question. Why is your face downcast? Why do you look so dejected? You will be accepted if you do what is right, but if you refuse to do what is right, then watch out. Sin is crouching at the door, eager to control you, but you must subdue it and be its master. Now, I shared this previously, that in some of the lines within the book, the third path, that I have in here, I have underlined certain lines because I want you to concentrate. I want you to look at this. And this whole, just about this whole paragraph has underlined words. So I'm going to repeat the ones that I underlined. You will be accepted if you do what is right. But if you refuse to do what is right, then watch out. Sin is crouching at the door, eager to control you, but you must subdue it and be its master. Such advice, such wise counsel. But instead of heeding God's warning, Cain continued to stew in its juices. He encouraged Abel to go out with him into a field, and there Cain killed his brother. The breath of Abel was no more. Abel was dead. Many, many years later, the Apostle Paul wrote, therefore, do not let sin reign in your mortal body so that you obey its evil desires. He also wrote, don't you know that when you offer yourselves to someone as obedient slaves, you are slaves of the one you obey, whether you are slaves to sin, which leads to death, or to obedience, which leads to righteousness. In other words, you can be a slave to sin if you want, but why would you want? Why would you want to be a Karen? Why would you want to be a Kevin? James wrote, each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed. Then, after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death. Exactly what happened in the Genesis story. These words from Paul and James are as wise to those who receive them as God previously spoke to Cain. And all God's admonition to Cain, Paul's to the Christians living in Rome, and James's to those early Christians scattered by persecution, continue to be relevant today. We should take care to heed them because anger, although a secondary emotion, is capable of countless times more damage as those which fall into the category of primary. Now, this goes on, and of course, I want to encourage you to buy the book and see what else it has to say. But here's what I want us to think about. What are we becoming slaves to? What anger are we becoming slaves to? What other emotions? What's going on in our world that we are so delving into that we've become a slave to it? And anger has become the norm. Anger has become prevalent. Isn't kindness the better way to go? I posted a meme not too long ago on Facebook that talked about that. One of my favorite blogs that I read daily, Shaun of the South, Sean Dietrich is the author, said that he was on a radio show one day and he was asked, what do you think it's going to take to fix the world? And he said he wasn't expecting that question. He thought he was there to talk about his book. And so after he left the radio station, he went to a restaurant and he just began to pose that question to other people. What do you think it's going to take to fix this world? And the predominant answer was kindness. Can't we just love? So I started something not too long ago. It's called Kindness Monday. And I'm hoping that in time we can have Kindness Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, that it will just become the norm. So today, being Monday, we're having another Kindness Monday. What one act of kindness can you do today? And then maybe talk about it, put it on your Facebook page. This was my act of kindness today. And because it's Kindness Monday, Eva Marie Everson said so. I'm going to encourage you to look for ways to be kind instead of ways to be angry. But in the meantime, grab your journal and your Bible, read that story in Genesis, and hopefully by now you've got a copy of the third path and you can read more about what I had to say about all of that, what God has to say about all of that through his word, through his writ. And answer the question, what's making you so angry? Sometimes all we just need to do is talk about it. And who better to talk about it with than God? That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, thank you for joining me again today. I'm going to do a couple more of these, and I hope you'll join us and we can look more into the questions that God asked in the Bible. This book has 26 of the hundreds of questions that God asked in the Bible. If you want to know more about me, if you want to contact me, you can go to evamarieeversonauthor.com, evamarieeversonauthor.com. Not evamarieeverson.com. That's a name squatter. evamarieeversonauthor.com. Don't even go to evamarieeverson.com because that will just like up the ante a little bit, and I don't want that. But let me know how it's going. Let me know what's made you angry, and let me know what your act of kindness was, because we can stop the anger. We start the kindness. Thank you for joining me again today, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.